Alright, so hello there everyone and welcome back to Corey Loses, where today we're going to be continuing our Thrawn's Revenge Imperial Civil War 2.2 preview playthrough as the Pentastar alignment. In the last episode, I tried to get Cisco killed trying to take out the giant fleet of ARC 170s that we had sitting at these planets here. But actually, I need to put the chat box back up on here because this is being recorded live. I don't know if that's actually going to show up on the screen right now. Okay, looks like it's actually happening. There we go. Sometimes OBS is really weird with some of the browser source things that's used to show like the stream alerts and the chat, but it seems to be working right now. So what we're going to be doing today is this is being recorded live on Twitch for anyone watching the YouTube archive there. There's a link to the Twitch channel in the description. I'm going to be just answering questions from the chat while continuing the campaign as usual. So what I really want to do is still get rid of Maldrude. Maldrude needs to go away. They start over here, they are now over here, and they have some territory coming out this way. The New Republic was, and the Imperial Remnant were pushing them back a fair bit, but then they just keep winning. And now they also have all this stuff in the core here. But there's that. You can replay Raw when the new update comes out. Yeah, so I'm gonna be trying to play 1.2. Will be because the Phoenix Rising series will end tomorrow, which means that it's basically right in time to do another GC and another mod. So that makes Raw a pretty good candidate. But the Empire of the Hand has all that. Okay. I think we're pretty much good there. So we're going to try to take out this fleet. I want to get...
Building under construction.
IPV reporting.
Yeah, there we go. So...
IPV reporting.
It's going to be a lot of ARC 170s and
Enemy
Gladiators.
fleet approaching.
Fast. Oh boy, the rebels. Now the New Republic wants to attack us? And will successfully attack us? Because they had a pretty big fleet there. 9 independence types. Okay, this is where all their capital ships are. Are you going to do the Urinda campaign, and will you have to purchase the Reaper Rebellion? I don't think you'll have to purchase the Reaper in that GC. I don't know what I'm going to play next for the channel. If you mean will the Urinda campaign be in the mod, then yeah. But as far as what I'm actually going to play on the channel next, we do have, I think, one more GC we can fit in before the release of 2.2. I'm just not sure what that's going to be or who that's going to be as. I'm going to put up another poll soon, but
Skip Ray reporting.
could be anything. I actually still haven't seen Last Jedi triplet set. To be honest, I don't feel like the raw patch notes address any of the problems that I had with the mod. So I don't know. But we'll see how it is.
Retreat in progress.
Don't want to judge it before I've actually played it.
En route.
I'm running out of maneuvers.
I'm
losing my engines. I'm getting torn apart.
Nope.
System is down.
Alright, so we do have to stop the New Republic from taking over our territory over here. What I'd like to do with them is I'd like to just attack them, get them off Mon Calamari, then their fleet, whatever's left of it, will retreat back to their territory, and they won't be building up ships up here that they could be using to kill Maldrude for me.
IPV reporting.
Building started. Building started.
Yeah, you guys are probably... Well, actually no, because this is still the build where they have that stupid bug that I can't even replicate it in the main build, where they only land one type of unit. So... It seems like there's a few new units and a few fixes. There's some balance changes, but really there's not that many balance changes to the actual ships. So, I don't know.
Lancet standing by. Engines activated.
Moving to secondary position.
Battalion standing by.
So I think we can actually defend this on the ground.
Reporting.
Yeah, I went to go and actually try to fix the bug that
artillery
was.
reporting.
Awaiting order.
Which one?
Ready.
Remember that one?
Moving out. Yes, sir.
That causes them to only land one type of unit. It doesn't seem to exist in the other build. So
Advancing.
Construction complete.
can you make a story mission reunification where you send Dala to Sauce Beacon and suddenly all the Warlord factions unify? I don't think we'll be handling it like that exactly. Cause it
Squad.
well, that is sort. It's not. We've got to try to stay both true to the lore and also make it have some sort of actual
Right away,
gameplay to it, instead
Squad,
of
advance.
just being like, well, you get to the
located
planet
the
and
enemy.
then you automatically win, essentially.
Constructing.
Reporting in.
Because even then, what happened with in the lore with Al is that she essentially joined up on a temporary basis just to examine the fleet of one of the warlords, and
Copy.
Roger that.
Construction.
then there was the battle at Hark's Fortress, or Pterodon. I think it was Hark's Fortress,
Right away.
and she ended up taking command of the ships, blowing up the enemy flagship, or attacking the enemy flagship, and
Turret constructing.
effectively her and Pelion took control of Harsk and Pterodon's forces.
Ready for orders.
So we can turn that into more of an actual gameplay thing, then it would be
Receiving
uh,
orders.
a bit
Support
better.
order acknowledged.
So far, no loot boxes. We'd have to get PayPal integration working for Empire War, and that just seems like it's probably not going to happen for us.
Ready.
So
Roll out. Deploying.
the most recent Monday modding, the TIE Avenger was listed as a fighter response for the Secular. Soon this stays for 2.2, he'll be able to use. So the TIE Avenger will be
At the ready.
one of Maldru's fighters. There's a lot of some of the
Ready
more
to receive orders.
obscure, I guess,
As you
Imperial
wish.
fighters that we want to put in
Activating.
for the Warlords
Scanning
whenever
for
we're able to.
enemies. Initiate sweep. Setting
A
course.
lot of them wouldn't be in for this build,
I've got
just
the
because we
monsters.
we don't want to work on that many more assets before we release. But that's something that we'd be looking on to make the Warlords a little bit more unique in the next builds.
Providing covering fire.
Comlink active.
Base is under attack.
Unit destroyed.
I mean, the goal would be for Fall of the Republic to not have
Squadron moving out.
bugs, but
Form up. Support order acknowledged.
2.3 equals Zero Command as a faction. Well, Zero Command will already be a faction in 2.2.
Awaiting orders.
It's just
Moving to that area,
it's
sir.
not
Lighting
playable in
covering
2.2. Whether it would be playable in 2.3, I don't know. Like, we don't really
We'll
need
back you up.
a, that would be what, 6th faction that's
Destroy.
essentially just the Empire or Imperial. There's only so many
Moving
different Imperial units we have to work with, so I don't know that
out. Right away. Laying suppressive fire.
trying to turn another one into a playable faction would really go too well. I'm sure someone will try to do a
Providing
sub mod about it.
Heading out.
Unit destroyed.
Form up. Lancet proceeding.
We gotta get
Command
back to
received.
the AA turrets.
Heading out.
Oh, don't use a bombing run on this. That's dumb. Hey there, Revenant. In terms of new factions, or playable factions in 2.3, it's basically the Hapens that we're going to be working on.
Awaiting orders.
So, like, our priority list for 2.3, as it stands right now, is finishing off any of the units that we had to cut from 2.2 for time. Which, stuff like the Saranin,
I got
the Class 2 frigate, the Vigil
Roll out,
class. So just stuff like that. The Peltist, or not the
Enemy
Peltist,
bombardment
the,
is ready.
what's it
Right away.
called?
providing
The
backup.
Antigo, rather. And
Form up.
I copy.
a lot of the ground changes, so there's also going to be some redone Empire of the Hand
I
units.
have the target in sight.
Providing backup.
So that's most of what we're working on, and then in terms of any new content for new factions, then it would just be the Hapens that we're doing. But
Reporting.
like, we don't want to spend another 4 years on the next release. We want it to be within the same year as, like, within 2018 as well as 2.2. So we're trying to be a lot more
Has been sold.
directed in what we decide to put in for any given release now.
Constructing.
Corey, how are the concussion
Unit
missiles up?
destroyed.
Order
We secured a
acknowledged.
landing zone.
Yes,
Well, no
Commander.
reason to build that thing anymore. How are concussion missiles set up in 2.2? Both types or just one? Also, how about in your current build?
Construction
So,
complete.
in 2.2 in general, they are...
Yes, sir.
you have the
Heading out.
anti-ship and anti-fighter versions. In this build that we are playing on right now, for the Let's Play, it is currently just the anti-fighter ones that were always in
Yes, Commander.
ICW.
Ready.
So really, those are still fairly effective against ships as well. They have a pretty good damage modifier, but they're not, like, the fact that they're still effective against fighters make them super powerful. There's Fuddies.
Construction complete.
Right, well, I guess we'll just
Constructing
rebuild some of
unit.
that. Kind of sucks that we lost a fleet there, but
Construction complete.
we can just rebuild those ships at the
Constructing
Severo.
unit.
I'm fairly happy with the fact that we're so far in, but we're still lacking in credits.
Building under construction.
Like, if I had been protecting units a bit more, it wouldn't be the case. But still, I don't, like, a lot of people will probably lose a fair amount of units, so we don't want to make it impossible to recover them. So I'm fairly happy with that.
Cruiser reporting.
Thanks for the sub there, Thrawn.
Ready to go.
Well, Revenant, the New Republic decided that they were tired of sitting with their fish tanks on Mon Cal and wanted to kill us. So they did that. But let's get Cisco ready.
Navigating to
So
coordinates.
I think we're going to get Cisco. This is going to be it for Cisco. Cisco's
Construction
gone
complete.
after this. I don't think he's surviving the episode. Just everyone prepare yourselves for that. Maybe even
Tactical
against
battle
these.
imminent.
Don't do it again. Don't make me go and break your fish tanks.
Ready to go.
Heading out.
I'm not trying to get Cisco killed. I'm just feeling like
Star Cruiser here.
I'm kind of trying to get Cisco killed.
Tactical battle imminent.
Those were ground units I just sent there too.
System lost.
Alright, so we'll have to retreat these. I should have just taken out all their space units before trying to invade Thanos like this. Oh well.
Lander ready. Arrival imminent. Transmission received.
There they are. Blast them.
Receiving location.
Prepare for jump
Okay,
to hyperspace.
don't attack. Okay, you stay there. That's good. When will you put in kill Pelion, Reaper, and Dominion and Megador? I'm not sure what you mean by that exactly. No. It wouldn't retreat to an enemy planet. It's just gonna go back to Terraphon. So
We're on the move.
I'm gonna have to just go. They're blocking our ground forces this way. I'm gonna have to go do this. I'm gonna make sure that they don't retreat back to Thanos and kill our entire ground force like
Order
that.
acknowledged. Setting course.
Construction complete. Tactical battle imminent.
Oh, I don't know that we'll make it all the way to Era 5, because the Imperial Remnant is fairly closed off here. But actually, the way it's currently set up, we did try to put in ways to ensure that the territories will always be there, so like whenever the Imperial Remnant loses its hero, there'll be a new place for them to spawn stuff. I think the only way, or the only errors that's not true right now are coming into Era 2 and 5. Because at Era 3, Biss unlocks and they get stuff there. At Era 4, the Maw unlocks and they get Dala there.
IPV reporting.
Choose your reinforcements.
Alright,
The enemy is approaching.
go die, Cisco. Party starter, get back in there. This time you're probably not going to die as quickly.
Awaiting your command.
The range for this isn't
Heading out, sir.
super high.
Interdictive field engaged.
Choose your
Alright.
reinforcements.
Location confirmed. Advancing. Confirmed. Right away. Moving out.
And VSD1, bless me. Get regular VSD in the back there. Let's get a bunch of Architens, so they have some laser cannons. Enforcers, I think Enforcers are the ones with lasers and not turbo lasers. There we go. Hey there, Josh.
He won't be around much longer. Watch for enemy ships. Pursuing enemy forces. Go after them. For the Empire.
When you just have like 10 anti-fighter ships, a bunch of squadrons aren't as threatening. The Ion Cannon, these are turbo, okay.
It's about to be
Closing
destroyed.
on enemy.
Yeah, Enforcers have turbo lasers, Vindicators have more of the anti-fighter weaponry.
Engaging the enemy. I can't switch position. I'm on this one.
See, this is something we just really don't want VSDs to be able to do, but I'm going to take advantage of it where I can.
Awaiting command. Location confirmed.
TIE interceptor here. Returning to your position. Regroup. I'm hit. We're being targeted. Narrowing position.
Oh, you don't want to invade our stuff anymore? Well,
Weapons ready, sir.
I'm sorry.
Tightening up. Gun
Is this not how you wanted this to go? Oh,
Squad.
Roger that.
Taking fire.
Awaiting your command.
I've been hit. Getting a lock.
did the big scary SSD just come and ruin all your gladiators? Do you like movies about gladiators?
Watch your back. Where are the others? Shield's almost gone. Cover me now. Blasted scum.
Cannons armed.
Nowhere to
Attacking.
go. Watch for enemy ships. Go after them. Interceptor squad reporting. Commencing attack run. Intercepting.
Cruiser here.
Super Star Destroyer ready.
Right, you can probably stop doing that.
Awaiting orders.
The enemy has been defeated. Planetary control achieved.
All right, I'm not letting you do that again, Maldrude. Because it's more like Maldrude.
Tactical battle imminent.
There are some golems there. In 2.15 or 2.2 demo, when I'd be finishing off the NR, I'd be facing off against like 150 squadrons of E-Wings and Y-Wings. So yeah, that's actually one of the things that we do want to address with the AI. It's not necessarily that they're building all that stuff. It's
Frequency open.
a lot of it is just leftovers from their other forces, and some of it is just PopCap where they only have certain amounts available at any given time.
Confirmed.
So they build some up, then they go and lose more of their ships, then they build some more up, and then they go and lose more of their ships. So we kind of want to do a call on some of the AI forces at certain points, where if they have like 300 fighter squadrons, we'll, for whatever reason, if we can't prevent them from getting them in the first place, we'll just go through, we'll remove the fighter squadrons to, or at least reduce them to a more reasonable level, and then we give them some other stuff to compensate, so that later on their force compositions are still a little more reasonable. I don't know how much of that we'll be able to successfully do at that point, but... Thanks for the cheers there, Thrawn.
Coming about.
Like, that kind of thing, just to make the GC a bit more challenging towards the ends, is kind of what we're looking to focus on with AI stuff, with AI changes.
En route.
Let's get some Architens in the back here.
Moving to sector.
Regroup. I
At
copy.
maximum unit capacity.
That's not really an Architens, but it's going to still be there.
Super Star Destroyer ready.
I'm hit. We're being targeted. Losing power.
I end up being unable to grab my units in battle near the end. So actually, Thrawn, there's a...
Gun them down.
that is an issue called, that we call it the selection freeze bug in Empire at War. It's an engine issue. We actually released a utility that that after that happens in the game, you can just use the utility on your saves. We've had some people report that sometimes it doesn't work, but really there's no other way around it to make the save usable. And what that utility does is it reverses that bug. But also, when Petroglyph did the EAW patch in September, that was one of the things they fixed, so that is no longer an issue on Steam. So if you do have the Steam version, you shouldn't have to worry about that anymore. And it does go on sale fairly early, but it's like, if people don't play a lot of Empire at War and they don't have the Steam version, I really think that going forward it's probably the best thing to get when it's on sale. So even if you spend like $4 or $5 on it. I've had to buy this game so many times. I feel like at some point I should have been given a free copy, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Hey there, Thans. It amazes me how much thought and consideration you personally pour into this. Well, it depresses me, so I'm glad.
Construction complete.
But yeah, so even if you don't have the Steam version, you can use the defreezer utility. It's just not 100% reliable, but it generally works. I've never had a problem with it. I've never been able to recreate the crashing bug with it, but that could just be because smaller sample size. And I really didn't play 2.1 as much, so it's kind of harder to say.
Invasion commencing.
Have you ever thought about doing community matches in PUBG? I mean, we could potentially do that, but I don't know that there'd be enough of a player base within the community, because I think when I streamed PUBG, it was like 8 viewers, so I don't know how many people even of that would have been able to play. Of course, that was a really late stream, so... But like anything other than Empire at War would tend to get a bit less viewership, so...
Choose your reinforcements.
Heading out. Order acknowledged.
Get in here. Is this the... I think... Yeah, this is the Bakura map. Rogue did some updates to it to flesh it out a little bit more. Oh boy, Trioculus.
Heading out.
At maximum unit capacity.
Lancet standing by. Let's move out.
Up over there.
Standing by.
Hey, they're out of fire.
Armor ready.
Grant
Rolling
owner.
out. Enemy unit sighted.
Aerial artillery reporting.
Those are turbo lasers, but they don't have the actual thing right now, so sucks to be them. Does that path go through the city?
We've secured an abandoned sensor array.
Are those... I think that's those stairs. Oh, that's an infantry only path. You go up the stairs and then... That's cool. You come out on the other side there. Okay, that's just infantry. That looked scarier than it was. This would all be scarier if they actually were able to use the turbo lasers right now. Can Jarek go in there? I think Jarek can safely go in here.
Ready for orders.
Oh, does that path not work right now? I think there's something blocking the middle of the path here. Yeah. I think you put a prop that has passability changes in the middle of it. So we'll have to go back through and fix that. I'll write that down. There we go.
Unit destroyed.
No, don't unit destroyed.
Support fire ready.
Unit destroyed.
At the
Bombing
ready.
run available.
Let's get this factory.
Bomber squadron reporting. Commencing bombing run.
We have a lot of units here.
Enemies in range.
We've secured a landing.
It's too bad we can't use that path. Getting Jarek in there would be
away. Order acknowledged.
very helpful.
Setting course. Right away.
Okay, you guys can hit up there.
Just give me a
I mean, if you actually faced the enemy and helped with them, that would be nice.
The big problems are ours.
No, use your... There you go.
Support fire ready.
Good, Jarek.
Targets are ours. Awaiting orders.
So,
Heading
crawler,
out.
let's get in there.
Unit destroyed.
Charge.
Unit destroyed. Unit destroyed.
Probably should have just taken that. I'm gonna save our thing for the next AT-AT they get. Unless they... Do they even have an
Destroyed.
advanced vehicle factory here? I thought they did. It looks like they might not.
Copy. All out, troops. Let's move out.
Let's get up in there.
Laying suppressive fire.
Ready
You
to
guys are
receive orders.
fine.
I copy. There they are.
Unit destroyed. Bombardment available.
May I ask why you reverted the infantry running gun change? We didn't.
like
The army troopers are lower tier infantry. So for like the really like the cheapest,
Reporting.
weakest infantry,
Keep going.
they can't run and gun. But for stuff like stormtroopers,
Planted. Targeting.
for the mainline infantry, they all
For
can.
attack position.
So that's supposed to be one of the benefits between like the lower and higher tier infantry, because it's hard to make stuff super differentiated by stats as far as infantry goes, and making the functionality changes like that makes it a bit easier. So army troopers are still just as good as like holding a position that they're already in, but
I've got them on
there is still a very good reason to go for the upgraded infantry over everything. And then if we're able to make the other kind of ground changes we want, as including some of the ground-related economy changes, then it's much more... there's a lot more we want to do with that.
Unit destroyed. Unit destroyed. Bombing run available.
Ready for orders. Initiate attack run. Commence attack run. In attack position. Attack.
Unit destroyed.
Enemies in range. Fire! Roll out.
There we go.
Choose your reinforcements.
Setting course. Heading out. Order acknowledged.
Unit destroyed.
Heading out.
At
Right
maximum
away.
unit capacity.
Hey, World Conquer. Poor Shaq.
Unit destroyed.
I do talk to Shaq fairly regularly. He will be getting an earlier copy of 2.2. We've talked because when Ascendancy came out, me and him did that playthrough on his channel, and that was like the only time any of my recordings have ever messed up, which is super unfortunate. The one series I recorded with Shaq, but he will be getting. He essentially has free early access to any of our projects, so Imperial Civil War, Ascendancy, and Fall of the Republic. But generally he wants to wait until stuff's a bit closer done, and so do we, before we start giving out to people. Like, with me doing the playthroughs as we do development, it's usually a bit better off because I have a better idea of like what's still being worked on, what we want to change, and if there's any issues that do arise, I generally have a better idea of how to work around them. So far, all of our playthroughs have been fairly stable, at least. I didn't like the Imperial or New Republic one just because there was so much that was unfinished at that point, but we're starting to get to the point where everything's more just about polishing it, so there'll be certain GCs that are done entirely fairly soon, like feature complete and all that. So around that point, I'll start giving it out, so I think like Gull and Bane will get it, Shaq will get it. And there's a few other people like Legion. I think I'll give it to Andrew Hester. I'm trying to think of who we've said we'll give the early copies to. But this is like after it's done the first phases of testing for stuff. Because generally, for a Let's Play, you want to have a stable build and not have to deal with mucking around with settings and everything. Or have it crash and not know why.
Moving to position.
Like for me, it's a bit easier, even with other mods, because I do have a general idea of how it all works under the hood. But for other people trying to play less stable versions of EAW mods, it's probably less fun.
Fire at will.
Bombing run available.
So the more we're able to make sure it's done by then, the better.
Commencing bombing run. Commence attack run.
So the way the auto attacks for Jarek, for example, actually works is now it's based on Yoda's Berserk ability. For Mos Jedi, we're still going to be playing with the stats, but it allows melee units to be a lot more viable that way, where otherwise they just sort of have to kill someone, do their transition animation, start walking, kill another person, transition animation, start walking, kill someone else. It's just terrible. Yeah, Erski, it'll be pushed to YouTube afterwards.
Affirmative. Moving.
Alright, now it's just that little garrison there. My favorite Christmas song. I really don't like Christmas songs.
Reporting.
When I used to work at, like, anyone who's worked in like fast food or retail, I think they've got to feel the same way. It's like you hear the same song 18,000 times,
Attack that target.
and it's just awful. No one enjoys it.
Moving. Yes, sir. This way.
Bombing run available. destroyed.
Ready to receive orders.
The enemy has
There we go.
been defeated.
Did you used to work in retail? So I worked at Tim Hortons and then I worked at
System
McDonald's
conquered.
around university.
Building under
So
construction.
I hate that place. Tim Hortons wasn't as bad. McDonald's was just awful.
Tactical battle imminent.
That was before I started working for the government. It was much better. No Christmas songs. Which was before I started working on this. Or not before I started working on this, but before I started doing this as like full time. Much more fun, this. I only listen to whatever music I want to. I mean, I guess I could like institute a company policy in my room, which is also my office, that I have to listen to certain songs at certain times of the year, but it just doesn't really work that way.
Moving.
Thanks for the cheers, they're out of fire. Apparently you unlock gifts for 7 others. I don't know what that means.
Right away.
I don't know how to Twitch.
Choose your reinforcements.
Moving out.
What did you do for the government? So I worked for Statistics Canada.
It's them.
During the census, and I was gonna be working there again. Like, it was last summer. I had a contract, and then I applied for another contract after that would have started in February that I was gonna get, but I didn't live in Ottawa anymore, so wasn't able to take it.
Enemies in range.
What are your orders?
We are victorious.
It was just like basic data entry and answering phones and stuff.
Construction complete. Beginning construction. Construction complete.
I'm aware of that meme. Commandos. The single unit retreat and the micro jump will multiplayer GC still be possible. So those features wouldn't be usable in multiplayer GC, and there's some other single player features that wouldn't necessarily be usable. We don't know how it will impact multiplayer GCs, whether it would just be that the units don't work, or that it causes more broad issues. And really those aren't like all the features and AI change and all that stuff that we have to make these changes to work in single player. We're not really willing to give up for the multiplayer GC, so what might end up happening is that the initial 2.2 release may not have multiplayer GCs, and then we have to we have to release a separate build of the mod, which is solely for multiplayer GC. Which if that's what we have to do, then that's what we have to do, but that wouldn't be ideal. We'd rather have it all just work normally, but we don't really want to hamstring the potential of the single player side of the mod just so that multiplayer stuff can work, especially because things like the era system can't work in multiplayer, which is super frustrating too. But Lewis scripts should work. Story scripts don't. I'm not sure. The only thing with Lewis scripts though is that it seems like if you have, there's more of a chance for desyncs, it seems like, if you have a lot of story scripting or Lewis scripting stuff going on, which isn't ideal obviously. So we'd have to end up making the secondary build that has a lot more stuff stripped out, just so that it's more workable. And then the GCs have to be designed around like actually getting to play the factions properly, because you can only have a 1v1 in multiplayer. You can't have a bunch. You can't have like 3 actual human players in the game, and that's hard coded. There's nothing we can really do about that. So it changed how you have to think about the factions and actually making the GCs. I don't even know if we'd have everything playable, but it's hard to say at this point.
We've captured an abandoned sensor array.
What's the status on boarding actions? I recall watching a video some time back, but haven't seen or anything since. So, well, everything in that video still stands. That ability is done. We're just like testing We're still just testing everything with it.
Attacking target.
And it's not in this video because the Pentastar alignment can't use the ability. It's New Republic, a couple eras in the Imperial Remnants, and also the Avitha that have that. And also, I don't like using stuff that's still like super earlier in the testing process in the Let's Plays, just because it can cause so many problems. But it's all still there, it all still works, and all that stuff.
Unit destroyed.
Thanks for the cheer again, Thrawn Sarm. Does the AI actually use boarding action? So, the AI doesn't really know how to use the new abilities. We'd have to do significant rewrites to the tactical AI to tell them what all that stuff means. Especially because the abilities themselves that they use, when you're coding new abilities for Empire at War, what you're essentially doing is you're putting in you're using an old ability as the trigger, so the game knows when you're pressing an ability button, which has some of the coding for that ability, and the AI will still see it as that ability. And then you have a separate Lua script that executes all the functions that actually change it to the ability you want it to be. So for the boarding ability, it's actually spoiler lock, and for single unit retreat, it's actually powered engines. So, which is why you'll sometimes see against certain factions in the playthroughs, once you start a battle, that they'll start retreating some units. They think they're using powered engines. That's been changed in the main build so that you can't, so that the AI won't like automatically cast it thinking it's something else. But in terms of like actually using it properly, that hasn't been set up yet. I don't know how feasible it would be to actually set that up, because we'd have to be telling them like, if it's this criteria that are happening, then that's a good time to single unit retreat, and like it'd be too situational, I think. Boarding might be a little bit more possible to do, but you have to sort of build your strategy around boarding, so I don't know how much we want to make them want to do it. I should have gotten this one. Oh, I did get that one.
Unit destroyed. Unit destroyed. Unit destroyed. At maximum unit capacity.
Yes.
Unit destroyed.
At the ready. Ready to receive orders.
It is red versus blue. This is just CIS versus Republic League. You even got Lats, you got... There's no donut, no church, but...
Comlink active.
Okay, you're getting shot by that. You're absorbing some of it, but...
Bombardment available.
It's not pink, it's lightish red.
Roger that. Attacking.
I'm like, I think 2 or 3 seasons behind on red versus blue now. I'm rewatching Friends, so once I'm done with that, I should probably just go back and rewatch, watch the last few seasons.
Receiving orders. Engaging.
I really didn't think I'd like Ruby when it started, but it's really grown on me. You added turrets to all ground structures like you plan to? All the Imperial ones have it right now. I don't think the New Republic ones have it yet. I don't know if they will have it done by 1. or 2.2.